Good afternoon, everybody, or evening, I guess it would say. Well, it's almost it's almost midnight. Steve Walls here with Darren Smith. Chiefs get the win tonight against, I guess you would say, a tough opponent, one of the best opponents in the NFL right now. They were one of the best opponents in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Darren, give me a grade. Before we start, I want you to give me a grade, how you feel like the Chiefs played tonight.
A minus.
A minus,
A
okay.
minus.
That's a first.
No, I think I gave him.
No, there's never been an A.
No,
It's always been a B.
I think I gave him A minus for the Ravens game.
Okay.
But and the reason I don't get an A
Mhm.
is because Harrison Butker for 6 straight weeks has done something with special teams, missing the extra point. Now it didn't end up being an issue in the game as it has in previous games. But but one of the things that they did do that we
Mhm.
talked about, if I remember correctly, did they have any penalties tonight?
They didn't have any penalties, any turnovers.
Went from 13 penalties and turnover last week to 0 tonight. So
Funny how that works, huh?
you're right. When you clean stuff up.
Yeah.
And I got a chance, we talked to the players in the locker room after the game, and so I do believe that this was a statement win. Detroit came into the ball game number one scoring team in the league at 35 points a game. They held them to half of that at 17. Stopped them a couple of times on fourth down when it mattered most for them, and so the defense came to play, offense came to play. They put points on the board. They got the magic number 30, and like I said, I think there's still some questionable play calling that I'm sensing. However, I'm not gonna take away from the win. They did what they were supposed to do. They actually put their foot on the necks of the opponent and didn't give them a chance to let up, and didn't let up at all.
Yeah, and we talked about early on in the first quarter that how much of the clock that you're funny how much of the clock that the Detroit Lions was actually using because of their running game. Their running game, and
they held the ball for almost 10 minutes in the first.
And I'm looking at time of possession now. It's pretty even.
which is well, because you know why, they did all that to come down and score and only end up with a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, you put points on the board, but I was wondering if this game was going to be over at 9:30 the way it started off, because again, to start the quarter off, they held the ball for 9.5 minutes, and then the Chiefs, they came down and scored, I guess to end the quarter. But overall, it was a great game for the offense, defense as well. The defense had a statement performance tonight, because we talk about how they are against these top running backs, and for a team that is heavily invested in the run game, they rushed for less than 100 yards. Now it was 98, but it was still less than 100 yards, so they didn't get that magic number of 100 tonight between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Mahomes tonight, 22 of 30, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Let's talk about his performance. Give him a letter grade.
Oh, it was A plus tonight.
Yeah, I'm about to say you got to give him an A plus.
Well, he got to.
And it's funny because you come off of a game like last week, and we talked about it, and you brought this up in our Monday night Red Hour show. It's like Mahomes can't be the leading rusher, after every game.
And look, it felt like he was leading. It was trending to that tonight, but I think Pacheco had a nice run towards the end of the ball game. I think Mahomes had 31 yards, like you said. Pacheco had 51, and I think Kareem had maybe 14. So they're still in search of, for me, consistency. One thing I want to ask you about before we go further, because I was doing a post-game show earlier before we came on. I do want to ask you, because there's been a lot of talk of the Chiefs maybe getting a running back in a trade, Breece Hall or something like that. I want to get your thoughts on that, because as I mentioned, in my opinion, I don't see what bringing another running back into this room is going to do, because essentially, if you trade for Breece Hall, you're going to have to pay him, because he's on an expiring rookie deal contract, and I don't think he's going to want to be traded and not have a big deal in place. Also, if you're not going to do that, but even if you bring him in, are you going to be cutting someone? All right, so let's do this. All right, sorry about the little technical difficulties that happens when you do stuff live. But Steve, going back to the what is bringing another running back in when they're not getting enough touches as it is? And if you bring in a Brees Hall, you're going to have to make him the every down back.
You would, and I just, I know we talked about it. You watch David Montgomery, and you watch the, other
Jameer Gibbs,
Jameer
yeah.
Gibbs, and it's kind of like, man, how are they getting this much push? First of all, the offensive line, and then it's like every yard, every down, they're picking up 7, 8, 6, 7, 8 yards, and it's kind of frustrating when you see Isaiah Pacheco and you see Kareem Hunt and the type of running backs that they are running with a lot of energy. Can you get by with that? I guess that would be my question. If I'm Brett Veach, it's like, can we get by if we bring kind of like what you said? If we bring another running back in, what are we going to do with these other two
The
guys?
thing is, with that team, especially with Gibbs, you can line them up outside, so you can
Mm-hmm.
actually play with both. They don't do it often, but they can do it because he's a great pass catcher as a running back. Kareem used to be that. Of course, he's a little long in the tooth now. Being almost 30 years old, but Pacheco has issues when it comes to catching the football, which which makes it a little bit more difficult
Mm-hmm.
in trusting him to be on the field for every down situation. Plus, again, when you get Rashee Rice back, I mean, right now they can't even find time to put Tyquan Thornton on the field.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And we talked about that pregame. I mean, and again for the second game in a row,
And Taekwon didn't have any targets tonight.
yeah, I don't think he was in the game at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you look at it, and you bring Rasheed Rice back next week, again, I'm just trying to figure out one. Rasheed's gonna need his targets. He's gonna need his catches, which means it's gonna take away from someone else. It might be Juju, might be Hollywood, but between Juju, Hollywood, Xavier, Rasheed, Travis Kelsey, Noah Gray's gonna get a target here, there
Mm-hmm.
too. I mean, again, we haven't got to Tyquan Thornton, and so I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know where the touches or where the attempts are going to be at if you bring in a Brees Hall. And Brees Hall is also a good pass catching running back as well. So
Yeah, but it's a good problem to have. It really, especially if you're winning. If you're losing, then you're kind of gives you that head scratch of like, what do we do? But I feel like if you're winning, then that gives you a good problem. And not only that, but if you have all these guys coming off your bench, there should be no drop off anywhere.
it shouldn't be a drop off, but we also have to understand Andy Reid is not a running back. I
Yeah, of
mean, he's not.
course, of course. I'm
So
talking just specific
now,
receivers.
no, oh, okay, well, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's fine. But again, and then even if you bring Brees Hall in, you've got to be creatively figure out ways to get him touched,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the passing game, because again, man, it's a great problem to have right now on offense. Unless I'm mistaken, everyone is healthy.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going into week 7, and everyone is healthy, and you get Rasheed Rice back next week. And so, even getting him back, you still can't even find attempts or targets
yeah.
to put Tyquan Thornton in the game.
And here's the thing. I know we talked about this early on before halftime, and even coming out of halftime. It's like, all right, this is a good game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs were up by what was it? Was it a touchdown? They were up by a touchdown, and we're like, okay, well, yeah, this is a good game. So now that the game is over, and you've got a chance to see this Detroit Lions play, up close because we watch them on TV or whatever. But now it's up close. What do you think about that Detroit Lions team when they came in here?
I mean, I think they're good. The problem is Spags was just in his bag tonight,
Yeah,
man. I mean,
yeah,
that's the Chiefs are fortunate to have Spags under contract because you give them enough time to prepare. But also I go back to when both teams played, the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens played. I mean, that was a game for Spags to be able to just look at both teams at the same time
mm-hmm,
and figure out a game plan. So I think Spags had enough time, especially when it can come to Detroit. You have 3 weeks to prepare for them,
mm-hmm.
essentially, versus 1 week with Baltimore. And so, I mean, he was just in his bag, and I can't say enough. Look, talking to the players can't say enough about Spags. I talked to Trent, talked to Leo, talked to George. I mean, they all sung his praises tonight and the game plan that he put together for him to, because George was even shocked. He's like, they didn't get 100 yards,
Yeah,
on the ground. So for that to take place, you know, I mean, Spags Spags put some stuff together this week that the players and they flawlessly executed on it.
agreed, agreed. You can catch myself, also Darren Smith, along with Sean Tyler and DJ Q tomorrow night. We'll be broadcasting live the Red Hour. The Red Hour, you can catch us from 6:30 to 7:30. Hang out with us. Hang out with us. Give us your questions. Ask us some questions about the game, what the players think, because we were in the locker room right after the game, so we'll be able to, give you a little bit more insight than your average podcast would be able to.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I mean, you got Raiders week coming up this week
Mhm.
on Sunday at 12 o'clock. Of course, you can join Steve and I for our pregame cheat sheet at 11 o'clock, an hour before kickoff. The players, they're respectful of what the Raiders are doing this season, but they know that this was a statement win. They may not define it as we would like that,
Mhm.
but they know how big a win it was because they admitted to it. They admitted to me that they blew last week's game against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They should have lost that game.
Yeah.
Now they said Jacksonville's a good team, but they had that game won,
Of course.
and they didn't. So for them to be able to bounce back from that in the fashion that they did tonight.
Mhm.
Again, that's such a statement victory in tonight's game, which is they might now. What grade did you give them?
Overall, I give this team an A.
Okay.
I think coming off of last week, I mean, we watched them blow a 14-point lead. And tonight, I mean, you got a lead. Granted, Harrison Bucker missed the
Yeah.
missed the field goal.
And I did talk to Harrison too.
I think you were I know that they were able to keep their foot on the gas pedal. We saw Andy Reid go for it on fourth down numerous times, right? And I don't know if that was because Harrison Bucker missed the field goal early or if that was just already in the game plan.
I think it was more so because they had to match fire with fire with
Yeah.
Detroit, because Detroit had no problem going for it on fourth down when they felt it was when it felt it suited them. And shout out to again the Chiefs defensively; they were able to stop them, I think, 2 or 3 times on fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs, I think they tried
Even the
maybe
goal
once or
line
twice.
play.
Yeah, and I think the Chiefs once or twice went for it and didn't get it. So, but again, you like the aggressive. I just want to see consistency when it comes to it. Now, one other thing I do want to say, because I have no problem saying something when I feel like they do wrong, but they did right tonight. I do want to say that tonight, unlike last week, they did do the double dip correctly in tonight's game, where they scored before the half. Granted, Detroit had a chance too, but they weren't able to. And then the Chiefs coming out to start the second half scoring as well. So shout out to them for that.
And one other thing before we get out of here, no Josh Simmons tonight. Jalen Moore was able
Yeah.
to play. Left tackle. What'd you see from him?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, Patrick was sacked 3 times. I don't know how much of that was really him or just more Aiden Hutchinson and them.
Yeah, I
Just
think it's Aiden Hutchinson.
yeah, just him being a good.
One time he got lined up on Noah Gray.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where for what he was asked for at the last minute again, next man up mentality, and so the Chiefs paying him $10 million. It was 2 years, $20 million. So I mean, no excuses where I come from. So.
Yeah. All right. So you give the overall A plus?
No, A minus.
A minus.
Because again, Harrison Bucket missed an extra point. He got to deduct something from that.
Okay. Steve Walls, Darren Smith, right here on the field. Post game, Chiefs defeat the Detroit Lions 30-17. Remember, you can catch myself, Darren Smith, also Sean Tyler, along with DJ Q tomorrow night, 6:30 to 7:30 on the Red Hour, right where you're watching us right now. We appreciate you guys sticking around, hanging out with us.
Late.
Darren, early prediction for next week.
It's the Raiders. I think the Chiefs get over 500. They'll be 4-3.
Okay.
And hold on, and I want to address them because I know you, and I know how we're gonna do on the radar tomorrow night. Yes, I did pick Detroit to win, but let me also say this, because you and everybody else always have to get on me about having the team go 17-0, 20-0, whatever.
Yeah.
But you all never pick the Chiefs to lose.
I do. Sometimes I do, but y'all like, oh, you.
No, hold on. You picked the lose, but you picked the lose on the radar. Then we get to the pregame Chiefs, you change your mind.
No. I always pick. If I say lose, they're gonna lose.
Okay.
My score tonight, though, I'm not gonna say I almost got that correct, but I said 27-21. It was 30-17. I mean,
I can tell you the magic number's 30.
yeah, for race to 30.
Yeah, race to 30. So, but I want to say that. They are. I mean, right now we're at the 3-3. So, I can pick them to win every game. Like Buffalo, they always seem to find a way to lose in the regular season to Buffalo, but they win in the postseason.
As a matter of fact, 3-3. I got some Gates coming. I got some Gates barbecue coming. I had a little bet, little friendly bet.
Oh,
A gentleman's agreement.
With,
Mike playing, had a gentleman's agreement. I hope he's watching too. You can meet me at Gates on 40 Highway if you're ready. For Steve Walls and Darren Smith, we are out of here. Thank you.
Peace.